Good morning.
Yep, Bruce. I hope Bruce is going to play us a song here, ready with his keyboard. That's okay. You're not playing? Thought we had a musical accompaniment for this session. Good morning, everyone. This virtual convention has served as a unique opportunity to easily hear from a variety of interesting speakers. We have invited three stellar humans who have been Alpha Chi chapter, regional, and national leaders with a variety of experiences. I asked them to share a word of encouragement, something about what their membership in Alpha Chi meant and still means to them today, and what they think about making their scholarship effective for good. Our first alumni speaker this morning is Andy Marini, who was inducted into Alpha Chi in 2015 by the Pennsylvania New chapter at St. Vincent College. The next year, she was elected student president of her chapter and became the Region 6 student representative for Alpha Chi's National Council in 2018. Currently, Andy attends the University of Pittsburgh, where she's studying for her PhD in bioengineering. Outside of her research, she enjoys doing outreach, service, and being involved in both Alpha Chi and Pitt's graduate chapter of BMES. Andy, welcome this morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So whenever I joined Alpha Chi in 2016, I was really excited to be a part of this group of individuals that were really seeking scholarship and leadership. And then I had the opportunity to attend the national convention in Louisville in 2017. And I remembered going and seeing all of these different individuals who were just craving knowledge and this unique thirst for scholarship and service. And I knew immediately, like, these were my people. I was so excited to be able to have conversations with people, and everyone was just interested in what other students were doing and able to share like their unique experiences, what their majors are and their passions. And that's when I absolutely fell in love with Alpha Chi as the organization. And at that time, I had become friends with Robert Carpenter, who was the current Region 6 National Council member they're the student representative. And he started telling me about what the National Council does. And I was like, okay, next year, he was telling me, well, next year he needed someone to more or less take his place on the National Council. And I was like, you know what? I think I could do that. I really just loved Alpha Chi as an organization. And then next year, I was graciously elected by my region to be the student representative for Region 6. And as soon as I became a part of the National Council, I was like, wow, I'm so excited to be here. And one of the biggest things I've really loved about Alpha Chi and being on the National Council is just having that voice for students, and working really closely with faculty sponsors and then Alpha Chi office directly. And they really listen to what ideas you have. So I was so happy to be very involved in this convention. I had reached out to Laura about some ideas I had had, and I just felt very on fire for just trying to talk about social justice topics. And when I was able to reach out to her and say, hey, I would like to nominate a speaker from my university who I think would be a great speaker for one of Alpha Chi's social justice-based events, she was immediately able to take my suggestion and make it a reality. And I think that's something that's so unique about our organization is just having leadership that truly listens to suggestions students have. So being that liaison for students between just the region to the National Council and just like my individual chapter has been absolutely wonderful and one of my favorite experiences of being a member of Alpha Chi. And also, I think just being able to come to the convention and see the breadth of knowledge across various different majors and disciplines, and maybe hearing a different perspective from someone who is majoring in business, in terms of, well, maybe they're interested in what someone who is studying biology has to do, and having that platform where we're able to share, like I said, our knowledge and ideas is something that I think is just a real benefit of being a part of Alpha Chi. Another thing I really love about being a part of Alpha Chi's National Council is planning service events back, before COVID. And back in 2019 at the Cleveland convention, we were able to go to Paul L. Dunbar School with Reading is Fundamental, which is an organization that strives to get books in all of students' classrooms, and they really appeal or really try to serve students from underserved communities. And I remembered going to Paul L. Dunbar School after working really hard with RIF and trying to like be a leader in that aspect, and just coming away feeling like, wow, we need to serve more underserved communities. And the fact that we're able to do that through Alpha Chi and just backing that motto of the importance of service is something that, again, just makes me completely love the organization. And I'm super excited for future service events, and hopefully we'll have some great ones at the Centennial next year in 2022. But just being a part of this wonderful organization is something I feel like has really helped me just become the person I am, someone who strives to help those in need and strive to make the best of the talents I'm given. So if anyone wants to know more, of course, feel free to ask questions at the end. I'm more than happy to answer them, and just encourage students to really take advantage of this organization while you're a student. And even after, as an alumni, the different opportunities. I know Alpha Chi has different agreements with, like, what is it? Like HP, if you want a laptop. I thought that was great. I was like, wow, you can get a discount for being a part of this great organization. For anyone who's trying to go to graduate school, they have an agreement with the Princeton Review, and you can get discounted, I believe, study books, which I think is great, especially for, we all know how expensive it can be to kind of study for going on to graduate education. And having Alpha Chi and being a member and having those resources, I think is just absolutely wonderful.
Thank you so much, Andy. Andy's just been a delight on the council. She has been quick to sign up for anything, volunteer, doesn't mind being like asked to do something on the fly. She's just been such a great ambassador. She ended up being interviewed in her department and had an article written about the panel that Dr. Abramowitz was on in February. And she just an excellent ambassador for Alpha Chi, Andy. We just appreciate everything you've done. And it's been a tough year, and your just exuberance and light just shines through, and it's just been delightful. One of the things she mentioned, since you mentioned different things that Alpha Chi can do for graduates and alumni, in May, be on the lookout for on social media and things like that. We are going to have another online career fair where you can have brief, I think they're 20-minute sessions with a career professional or someone, and it's not so much a job interview as a way, like, especially right now when everybody can't, like a lot of career fairs and job fairs were canceled. So this is a great way to fill in the gap and do a virtual conversation and just kind of get some mentoring. And you can sign up to be a mentor, or you can sign up, so our sponsors could do that, our advisors, and you can sign up to be a mentee. So be on the lookout for that, because that is something that we've had 2 of those, and we're going to have a 3rd one here in May. Okay, so up next, we are going to hear from AJ Horner. Where did my thing? Oh, here it is. Sorry, it was a long night. Our next speaker is AJ Horner. AJ graduated from Gardner-Webb University in 2017, where he was the chapter president of the North Carolina Zeta chapter of Alpha Chi. He then graduated top in his class from Baylor University School of Law in 2020. AJ currently works as a law clerk for the United States District Court in the Eastern District of Texas. He has been great to work with. He has wonderful Alpha Chi stories from the Cleveland Convention. Maybe he'll share some of those with us this morning. AJ, welcome.
Thank you, Laura. The theme of this year's convention is injustice for all. When I think about this concept, I'm often struck by how daunting a task this is. In my line of work, justice is a common and reoccurring theme. As I'm just starting out in my career, I often ask myself, what will my legacy be? Long after I leave this world, what, if anything, will I be remembered for? Sure, I would love to be the person that achieves justice for all, or the one who makes the American dream accessible to all. But then I step back and ask, can I achieve these things on my own? The answer is probably, most assuredly, not. However, that doesn't mean that what I do in this life can't move our society closer to achieving these goals. That's why I want my legacy to be that I was a drop of water. You see, a drop of water can cause a ripple on its own, but when combined with other drops of water, they can cause a flood. Let me try to illustrate this in real world terms. My sister just graduated from nursing school, and to celebrate her accomplishment, I, like any good older brother, decided to get her a graduation gift. Barbie, one of her favorite childhood toys, had come out with a limited edition doll fashioned after Clara Barton. Barton was a nurse during the Civil War, although she is most notably known for being the founder of the American Red Cross. Today, the American Red Cross provides services to members of the armed forces and their families, disaster relief in both the United States and abroad, and more than 40% of the blood products in this country, as well as providing life-saving training such as CPR. The American Red Cross, in sum, has saved the lives of thousands, if not millions, and impacted countless more. But most people don't think about an individual named Filippo Brunelleschi when they think of Barton and the American Red Cross. Brunelleschi was a 15th century architect and engineer. He invented an odd-looking boat that's not very reminiscent of anything we have today, and was designed to transport marble over a little river in Europe. He requested and received what is believed to be one of the first patents for his invention, if not the first industrial patent. Fast forward 300 to 400 years, and patent law was so important to America's framers that they included a provision for it in the Constitution. Even eventually, Congress would enact laws that would regulate patents. They would also create the U.S. Patent Office. Now, you might be thinking, what does Clara Barton, a nurse, have to do with patent law? Well, Clara Barton was the first female clerk at the United States Patent Office. So here's my point. But for Brunelleschi and his first patent, the framers might not have included a patent clause in the Constitution. Patent law might not have been enacted. The U.S. Patent Office might not have been in existence. Barton wouldn't have been a clerk at the Patent Office in D.C. She might not have been in D.C., therefore, at the start of the Civil War, and therefore, she might not have seen the need for nurses during the Civil War. All this is to say that had it not been for Brunelleschi and his first patent, Clara Barton might not have created the American Red Cross. Now, I'm not saying that Brunelleschi deserves the credit for the creation of the American Red Cross. That credit belongs solely to Clara Barton. But Brunelleschi caused ripples throughout history that eventually led to the creation of the American Red Cross. I think there are two important points that we can take from this chain of events. The first is from Brunelleschi himself. Brunelleschi was not a nurse, nor did he attempt to be one. Rather, he was an architect and engineer, and his works survive today. Brunelleschi advanced his disciplines, architecture and engineering. But through the advancement of those disciplines, he had a profound impact on the future of areas far outside of them. Alpha Chi's motto is making scholarship effective for good. Never be discouraged that scholarship in your discipline is not having a meaningful impact on our society. All discipline, whether it's the arts and humanities or the sciences, are important for the advancement of society. And who knows, maybe the literary advances that one of you come up with might be the drop that causes a ripple that leads to the scientific breakthrough that cures cancer or some other disease. But this does not mean that we need to neglect the experiences, backgrounds, and disciplinary focuses of others in our communities. I'm currently a law clerk in the United States district judge. As such, my discipline is squarely the legal field, but I could not do my job if I couldn't talk to and understand medical professionals, scientists, teachers, and people from so many other disciplines. Likewise, courts are called upon to understand backgrounds and emotions of the parties before us on a daily basis. You see, we each are members of different communities. Whether you think of this on a global, national, state, local, or even neighborhood level. Our communities are made up of people of different races, genders, national origins, religions, socioeconomic statuses, and even political affiliations. Just like in my discipline of law, to make my scholarship effective or your scholarship effective in your own discipline, you must practice empathy. That is the art of placing yourself in the shoes of others, to see the world through their perspective and to inform our own beliefs on those shared understandings. Not only will empathy strengthen your own scholarship, it will help us move closer as a society to being more understanding of our differences and closer to being a more perfect union. Secondly, we see from the life of Clara Barton the importance of service. Indeed, the American Red Cross is one of the greatest service organizations ever created. This idea of service is pervasive throughout American history. In his first inaugural address, President John F. Kennedy famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." During my time at Gardner-Webb, I had the opportunity to engage with Alpha Chi on numerous service projects. During one of these, we helped to pack backpacks for children at a local elementary school who wouldn't have received nutrition otherwise. You see, my point is, and this goes back to Alpha Chi's theme for this year's conference, challenging injustice can be a noble cause. And advocating for more just policies and laws is important, but we cannot forget that justice starts with the individual. Each day you have the ability to make the lives of those around you a little better. 30 minutes at one day with several college students packing backpacks had very little impact on our lives, but it impacted the lives of those children greatly. I guess my point is this. We each have the opportunity every day to make these little impacts on other people to help them achieve that illustrative American dream. Don't miss the impact of service to helping your communities become a little more just. If we excel in our disciplines, empathize with our neighbors, friends, and even those we consider to be our enemies, and serve our communities, we too can be like Filippo Brunelleschi and Clara Barton, drops in the ocean that cause a flood that will impact millions. I don't know where I'm going to be after my 2 years down here in the Eastern District, but wherever I am, I hope to continue doing these things and leaving a legacy that I was a drop that led to this flood. Thank you, Laura, for giving me the opportunity to speak today, and to Dr. June Hobbs and the North Carolina Zeta chapter for helping to shape me into the person I am today. I also would be remiss if I didn't say Sikkim Bears, the 2021 National Basketball Champions. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. That was wonderful. And I have absolutely no doubt that you are a drop or more in the bucket. And I am just excited to watch what happens for you over the coming years and what you're able to accomplish. Thank you so much for being here. You know, when you consider what your achievement and recognition in Alpha Chi means to you, what comes to mind? Have you thought about what it means to dedicate yourself to making your scholarship effective for good as Alpha Chi charges its new members? Would you like to share with your peers from colleges across the country if given the chance? Well, be thinking, because one day we may ask you to speak to a new cohort of Alpha Chi members. So I'm not seeing any questions. So, oh, wait, I see one from June Hobbs. AJ, can you tell, you know what she wants you to tell, AJ. AJ, she wants you to tell the story of the challenges that the Louisville Convention posed to you personally. Part of being an Alpha Chi member can be character development that he showed on that occasion.
Well, I don't know if this story, I don't like repeating this story, Dr. Hobbs, because I don't think that it's that great of a story to be telling people. But, you know, Dr. Hobbs, at the time, I don't know if she still is, but at the time she was sitting on the National Council. And so she had already gone up to Louisville to attend the conference or whatever meetings the Executive Council has before. And Dr. Moser, our associate sponsor, I don't know his exact title, I think his wife was having twins. And so he was not able to travel with us. And so we had gotten a fill-in professor to come and travel with us, and we were all prepared to fly from Greenville, South Carolina to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta up to Louisville. And about 12, our flight was about 6 a.m. At about 12 p.m., so midnight, the night before, I received a notification from American Airlines that our flights had all been canceled. And so we spent frantic 2 to 3 hours that night trying to see, you know, when, you know, flights get canceled all the time, but usually they get rescheduled, you know, very soon after. But it was becoming apparent that they weren't going to be rescheduled. And so we made a very rash decision to rent some vans, and we decided to drive from Louisville from North Carolina to Louisville, through the mountains of Tennessee and Kentucky. And I think it was a great experience. It was definitely challenging. I had to drive the entire 7 hours because my driving buddy didn't feel comfortable driving a van and didn't inform me of that until after we had paired off. And so, but, you know, I think wherever we are, any Alpha Chi member, you've already reached a point where you're being recognized for having to being at a point in time in your scholarship. And I think that translates easily to leadership. And a big portion of leadership is not thinking about what a leader would do, but just acting in the moment and doing what has to be done. There were members of our team that were presenting the first night. And so it wasn't an option. We had to get there the first night. So that's the story. I don't think it's that great, but.
Well, thank you for entertaining your former mentor and sponsor, June Hobbs. I know she will appreciate it greatly. She told me that
great story.
She's a fan. She's obviously a fan. She's the one who let me know that that AJ would be a great person to contact about speaking, because she had heard him speak on behalf of their chapter, and he also spoke at his commencement, and so that was lots of fun. Thanks for sharing that story with AJ. Katie and I will never forget that convention, and Melinda, it was just terrible weather. We were there, didn't know a thing was going on, and almost half the delegations were late. And talk about collaboration. We had to do a lot of stuff on the fly that day. And our sponsor advisors took over judging. I was just in a complete and utter brain dead moment. And they just were like, we've got it. We've got it. And it was the best thing I've ever seen, and just totally exemplifies just what I knew to be true about our Alpha Chi chapter advisors, that they will go above and beyond for Alpha Chi students and help each other out and help students out. And it was wonderful, and I will never, ever forget it. So Andy, we have a question here from Kathy Bosovich. What impressed you about, what impressed her about her speaker to suggest him for our panel event? How does he represent the ideals of Alpha Chi to you?
So Dr. Stephen Abramowitz, he leads so many initiatives at Pitt regarding increasing like underrepresented minorities and gender equality at our university. He is in charge of Pitt's Strive program, which is a program specifically dedicated to helping underrepresented minorities in their first year of graduate school. It's usually a pre-summer program that helps them develop maybe some of the skills to just help them succeed later on in graduate school. Actually, one of my lab mates and one of my good friends was part of the program, and anyone who knows Steve knows he has a huge heart for service. He also won an award from BMES, which is the Biomedical Engineering Society, so a very large honor for his work in service and diversity, and like he was recognized at a national level. So I mean, I know how wonderful he is locally. He's also very involved with our BMES outreach section. He leads a camp in the summer to local underserved communities to just help them learn about STEM education and kind of get their minds going at a young age and get them interested in education and hopefully just teaching them. And all around, he's just a wonderful person and individual. He's very funny and kind of quirky. So I thought he'd be a great speaker just because his heart for service is real. And I feel like that really represents Alpha Chi's mission.
Thanks, Annie. Thanks, everybody, for the wonderful questions and the wonderful comments. Thanks to our speakers this morning, AJ, Andy, and Dakota. We hear you and we see you out in Los Angeles, and we hope you are feeling better.